It's the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any materials produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present Girls vs. Ghosts, The Realm Walker with Kelly McCarville, live, only on Spreaker. Every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. And as always, join us in our live interactive chat by going to Spreaker.com or downloading the Spreaker app for your devices. Kelly is a respected paranormal investigator and also a very gifted medium and brings a unique perspective into the paranormal field. Be sure to follow Kelly on all her social media at Facebook, Kelly McCarville Moonspinner, Instagram and Twitter at Moonspinner76, and on the web at mysticalmoonspinner.com. Here's your host, Kelly McCarville.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday evening. Thank you for joining us once again. I don't know what you guys' weather has been like, but we have been having clouds and rain and sun, and it's all sorts of all over the place. So it's been a really weird day, but we're going to have fun tonight here online. Before we get started into the show, I just wanted to take a moment just to remember what today is. You know, this was a big day in history, and I'm sure this is a day that's going to live with us forever. So, just wanted to put my heartfelt sympathy and thoughts out to everybody who's been affected by the 9/11 tragedy. And, just remember to say never forget. And for anybody who doesn't follow me on Facebook, I put a post out there this morning that I think actually more so sums up how I feel about this day, about if we can remember how we all came together on September 12th, I think that that's far more important than, it's not far more important, but I mean, it was so important. It was so important to remember how we were brought together, and that's an important thing to not forget as well. So just wanted to take that moment before we get started into this too far. My guest tonight is the lovely, beautiful, amazing Jamie Chad. She is the host of the Haunticon Parafest that's held in Omaha, Nebraska, and she is also in charge of the Midwest Paranormal History Tours. So wanted to bring her on here and just give her an opportunity to talk about all her stuff, and because we have fun, so we had to have her on here. So how you doing tonight, Jamie?
I am doing well. We got the same weather as you, and now it's about 2,000 degrees outside.
It's been crazy. I don't know what the deal is. I left the building at lunchtime, and it was sunny, and then on my way back, here comes this cloud and this, torrential rains, and by the time I could park my car to head back into the building, sun's back out. It's like, what?
Yeah, my glasses fogged up every time I walked outside today.
Oh, yeah. It's a little, tiny little bit humid. So, Mother Nature's drinking or something. Good for her. So, anyways, well, thank you for coming on the show tonight. I know you are a busy gal. Part of the reason I wanted to have you on this week is to talk about an event that you actually have coming up this weekend, correct?
Yes. Second biggest one of the year, I would say, as far as size-wise.
And you want to tell everybody what you got going on?
So this weekend is what I call the Bellevue Bonfire. So this is the second annual, and we have it at a place called Bellevue Berry Farm. It's like a big pumpkin ranch out here in Omaha, and It's kind of geared more towards 21 plus, but anybody 13 and over can come. Basically, we get together, we have food, we have a bonfire, we have s'mores. You can all sit in the group and hop up and share paranormal experiences if you want to, or you can just sit and listen. We also have tons and tons of raffles that we give away. We just do $1 raffle tickets, and everything's super weird and paranormal, alien, cryptid related. And it's just a fun way to raise money for HauntACon talent primarily. And it's also just to have a good time. You'd be surprised. Last year was the first year, and I was really anxious when we got to the bonfire and s'more part and people sharing. So, like, I hopped up first and shared some of my experiences. And I thought, oh, my gosh, please don't let this be crickets, and I have to talk to people for 2 hours and tell them all of my ghost stories. And I thought that's what was going to happen. But, Kelly, I was amazed how many average Joes in the audience got up and told super amazing experiences, everything from definitely living in a haunted house type of deal.
Right.
Some UFO type of experiences. We heard some potential Bigfoot sightings. It was everything across the board. And these are not paranormal investigators. These are people that are interested in the paranormal, but not in the paranormal. And some of them had the most genuine, cool experiences that I've ever heard.
And I think that's a cool opportunity for people because, yes, they like to come in and they like to hear what we've experienced and the things that we've seen, but sometimes they just want to share their own stories and say, hey, I've experienced this too, you know? And I think
people... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I think you were probably going to say what I was just going to...
people want to, feel less crazy. You know, exactly. I had this experience in the house, and, she had one very similar. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. This is why we get along, Jamie.
I love you.
No, and that's, they want to share their stories, and it absolutely helps other people not feel crazy, and it encourages them to speak up then, too, and say, yeah, this is what I had going as well. But, so you said that this is a fundraiser for HauntACon. And
yes.
I don't know, between Jamie and myself, if you guys haven't heard what HauntACon is yet, you must have been under a rock last year because I was talking about it nonstop. But why don't you tell everybody what HauntACon is?
So HauntACon, oddly enough, when the idea came to me, and this was years ago, I did not even know what a Paracon was. Josh Hurd had to tell me. I was like, I had this idea. This is what's going on. He's like, oh, my God, you're supposed to have a Paracon. I'm like, what is that? And he explained it to me, and then a couple of other people that had been to him explained it to me, and it is exactly that. Now, I feel like mine is very similar to some, but is very different in some ways from a lot of paranormal conventions, because when I originally set out to do this, of course, the number one person that I'm concerned about is the attendee that's buying the ticket to come to HauntACon.
Right.
But my main focus was to get vendors from haunted locations from all around the Midwest because, as just an average person, let's say me, I've seen Missouri State Pen on the television, right? And I'm like, wow,
right.
Cool. No clue that a normal person could go take tours there, investigate there, go on a ghost hunt there. And so by bringing all of these haunted locations to one place for one day, and then we have hundreds of people that are interested in the paranormal, I just really promote, instead of just watching it on TV and thinking like, wow, that's a super cool idea, but they can meet all of these haunted locations and kind of decide for themselves which ones they would be most interested in, maybe making a little road trip, short or long, to go to themselves.
Yeah.
When I see Fred's bringing up my Malvern Manor, most terrible experience of my life.
Well, we need to hear about this now. Why is it that our most terrifying stories are all from Malvern Manor? What the hell, Malvern Manor?
So here's the deal. My scariest experience before that day actually happened on a ghost tour in 2017. Then probably my most prolific one happened at Waverly Hills in July of 2018. But I tell you what, February at Malvern Manor, I have never in my 37 years experienced what I had happen in the shadow hallway.
And what did
you were there, Kelly, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but you need to share.
Okay,
I think we're talking about the same thing, but go ahead, share.
So that night, Chris Case had an event where he brought Steve from Ghost Hunters in for like a public investigation, or private rather. And I went that night, and the entire group of, I don't know, let's say 25 to 30 people were split up. Half of them were on like the second and third floor with Johnny from Villisca. The other half were in the main lobby with Steve, kind of listening to a lecture and things of that nature. Chris and I and another girl named Gabby, I was like, well, let's sneak off and go to the shadow hallway. And honestly, we were standing there just shooting the breeze. We were not being spooky. We were not investigating. We were talking about Gabby's flight, of all things.
Right.
Standing right by the nurse's station. And the lights were out, but you have some ambient, exit signs and orange light coming in from the windows and whatever. And I was standing there, and all three of us were just chit-chatting. I could have swore that someone was standing in the threshold, the doorway of, I guess, what they call the dizzy room. And could have swore someone was standing there. But in my head, I knew everybody was either with Steve or Johnny. It was just the three of us. So I'm thinking, okay, did someone go rogue and break off from the group? And I think it's unspoken rule as far as investigations, and you can attest, Kelly, is you never jump out at someone. That is unacceptable.
Yes.
And everybody knows that. So I'm thinking, no way somebody would go rogue and in the shadow hallway scare. Like, I wish somebody would jump out at me. That would end in assault and battery, most likely. So I kept looking at him, and I was 85% sure that someone was there. So we kept talking, and I took probably 2 steps closer to kind of get a better look. And somebody was definitely there. And then I took about another step, and I started getting super duper anxious. And I just remember, and I don't get anxious, but I started saying, who is that? Who is that? And I said it like 3 times, and Chris kind of came up beside me, and we took probably another step closer to this doorway. And that apparition, I don't know what it was, straight up charged us. It came at us, and I'm out. Like, that's it. From the video from behind, like, each of us took 3 running steps back, and I tell you what, I've never ran that fast since probably high school. Screaming, running. I've never done any of that. Oh my gosh, it was terrifying. And Chris, got a hold of me, and he's like, Jamie, calm down. There's nobody. This way, drags me back down there. And of course, we look through the whole shop. Nobody's in there, whatever. And for the first time ever, I was seriously probably there for another 15 minutes, and I had my teenager with me. I was like, get your stuff. We're leaving. And we left within 15 minutes.
So I wasn't actually there that night, but you've told me about it. And I know we went back down there and kind of seen if we could get any interaction from them again.
I don't want interaction. No, I'm good.
Liar.
I don't ever want to be charged again. It's terrifying. Was so terrifying.
No, it's terrifying. And that's the thing is, I tell people about my story from Malvern all the time, and it's like it was terrifying. It was kind of cool to experience, but it was terrifying, but it's definitely not something that I'd want to go through again.
No, thanks. I'm good.
Yeah.
Other little experiences I've had in the manor, my threshold for it is like I thought, and it is, I've had some pretty major ones, but this was a totally different level. I've never had something be aggressive like that. To the point where I actually thought it was a human. Like, it was, and it was fast. It was so fast.
That's how the woman was when she came up the hallway at me, too.
But you had like a ring experience, and that's totally broken bone different. Ugh.
broken bone different.
Well, that's what they call like the cinematography, like when you how the ring walks almost like broken. Yeah. It's like either broken bone or broken neck. Like, when you tell me the story, I kind of see like the ring coming up out the well at you. And maybe that's not how you saw it, but your story sounds like
no, that is absolutely how I saw it. Other than she wasn't young, she was old. But it absolutely was terrifying. But I know the last time even we were there, and we weren't even doing anything, and maybe that's when it's crazy how many experiences you can have when you're not even doing anything. But that's when your daughter was there with us we were standing up in the captain's room. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, Kelly. I absolutely remember seeing someone behind you.
So we're standing there and we're talking about how her daughter will sometimes, I guess I should have asked, can I talk about this?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Her daughter will sometimes have some experiences as well, but that they're kind of random. And so I was just talking to her saying, have you ever tried to kind of control it? Say, not right now, I don't want to interact, or hey, now I'd like to interact. And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, say, well, could you, just talk to him and say, could you reach out and touch my hand? And at that exact moment, I feel this hand kind of start just below my elbow, run down my arm and grab my hand. At the same time, Jamie's taking a jump backwards because she's seeing somebody standing behind me. So
it was, but it wasn't a human like it was in the shadow hallway. What I saw behind you, because Kinsley thought that somebody laid an entire hand on her knee, because remember, she was sitting down, not Indian style, but with her knees up. And hello, Cynthia. And we kind of we were talking about being touched. And that's when you were talking about, and then all of a sudden this grayish mass, but definitely in the shape of I could see definitely a head and a hand that came around and grabbed, I guess that would have been your right elbow.
Correct. You are correct.
And I didn't see any facial features. It was almost like a blob of gray, but it wasn't poltergeisty like the snow on TV. It
wasn't scary. I jumped a little.
It was weird.
Yeah, I jumped a little because I wasn't expecting it. But most of the time, if I'm investigating and I know that there's a potential I'll be touched, I'm a little more ready for it. But we weren't paying attention at all, so I was completely unprepared for it. And
me too. Yeah. We were we were shooting the breeze, talking about whatever, and then, whatever appears right behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun experience, definitely.
Well, that night wasn't terrifying. It wasn't
oh, God, no.
It wasn't as ominous as the shadow hallway. If that was a straight up warning. Or I don't even know what it was. Where yours, it came right behind you, it touched you, and then it dissipated almost based on, not that you were asking for it, but you were giving an example, and it did exactly what you said, and then it went away.
Yeah, and I remember my first thing that was out of my mouth was, I didn't mean now!
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, nobody had camera on. I don't even think we had a flashlight on. We had nothing. We were...
Well, because we just kind of took off. We'd been standing there talking, and you're like, come on, let's go get spooky. And so we just took off walking. We didn't take anything with us.
I should never say... If I say, let's go get spooky...
Yeah, well,
I don't always mean it. I think let's just go wander around. But... whatever.
Oh, you better be careful who you say that to. Somebody could take that wrong.
No doubt.
Okay, so before we stray too far off course here.
Moving on.
Haunticon. That was last March, so you do already have the date scheduled for 2020, correct?
Yep, April 4th, 2020.
Awesome. And is it going to be at the Sokol Auditorium again?
It is. So my first year was in an abandoned slaughterhouse, and there were so many pros about the slaughterhouse, but there were some cons that I don't want to say outweighed, but it was a lot more work. And then the logistics of it. Oh, look, if I could do it again, I would absolutely be right there. That's for sure. But the logistics were a little complicated using an abandoned slaughterhouse, as far as electricity and the temperature, and of course having to bring in, rather than Sokol has all of the tables and chairs and whatnot, everything was third party. So I was there a ton, accepting deliveries and setting up, and the logistics were just a little more hectic.
Like a ton of work.
Yeah. Where Sokol's an Omaha landmark, first of all. It's very old. It's very cool. Mm-hmm. It's in the Bohemian neighborhood, but yet it's very well kept up, but kind of spooky. Like, it's not, your Holiday Inn Convention Center, because I would never rent that for HauntACon. I still want something that has the cool history behind it and the charm and the character. It has a great layout, has a bar, has bathrooms. Thank you, Cynthia. Has power, reliable power.
All of bonus, always a bonus.
All of those, yeah. Not that killed the first HauntACon, and that's a slaughterhouse joke, but it just, a slaughterhouse was meant to be a refrigerator. And let me tell you what, it kept the cool. It did. It didn't. We rented heaters, and maybe it took some chill off, but not like comfortably.
Didn't make it comfortable.
You know what I mean?
Didn't make it comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, but it wasn't like freezing necessarily, but it was chillier than you want to be. And, we had porta potties, which is fine for, it worked, but Sokol is just seamless. You know what I mean? I can focus more on the convention. It is so cool. We can focus more on the talent and the vendors and the activities and focus less on like counting tables, or how many outlets work today. I don't know. Do you want to hear a funny story real quick?
Well, of course I do.
You're going to get it. So the slaughterhouse, we're like into it, and it's Wednesday, and I go meet the guy. He gives me the keys. He's like, yeah, have at it. Start setting up. Me and a girlfriend went in there. All was well. We're like, cool, let's run. I think we're running to get food. Come back, and water is pouring in through the roof, waterfall style. So, I spent 8 hours shoveling sludge, like snow sludge, out, and then I'm in there late at night. It's probably 10 o'clock, and I wasn't crying, but I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And this guy that I don't even know, he could have been a serial killer. He walks in, he's like, are you the ghost girl? And he's like, well, I work for so-and-so. And then he takes me out on the roof. I go out on the roof with a stranger that says that he works.
That's always a brilliant idea.
Could have been a homeless guy off of I-80. I don't know. But he takes me on this janky ladder out this janky window, and then we shoveled the roof for 2 hours to get all of the snow and water like to the side of the roof that isn't leaking. But you know what? All well that ends well, because it totally worked, but it was...
And that right there, folks, is host dedication.
That's host dedication. Like, no, and I shouldn't even be shoveling. I'm too old for that. But, I mean, what else was I going to do? Whatever. Nobody wants to shovel a 10,000 square foot abandoned slaughterhouse, Kelly. Nobody.
Okay, when you put it into perspective like that, okay, you're probably too old to be doing that. But then
it's
those 10-year-olds.
Yeah, I shoveled all of it. Like, I was so sick. The drains were all clogged up because it had nowhere to go. So I shoved it all into this main drain, and then it was just like a giant pool. So I bought red food coloring and threw it in there like something had recently been slaughtered, because I had to work with what I had. Excellent. But people really dug it. Like, yeah, people really dug it.
If you don't have a blood waterfall at HauntACon 20, I'm going to be disappointed.
Well, great. Now that's a new standard. Thank you. I'll look into that.
Trying to think where we could even do it.
We could figure it out front, maybe. Like, I think it could attract.
Yeah. Even if it was just something like we had to get one of the waterfall, the fountain thingies, and just dye it red.
A fondue fountain. Oh my gosh, I know where you're going with this. Fondue fountain with like red chocolate. I like it.
Oh my God, it's amazing. We can do this. We can so make this happen. Okay. We have strayed off course.
Again, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's what we do. This is what we do. So I gotta go back. You know what? I should be watching chat. Good Lord, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm not even watching chat because I'm chatting. If you guys have any questions for Jamie, go ahead and put them in chat. I'm scrolling back through to see if I missed anything. If you asked and I missed, just repost it and I'll try to get to it. So what got you into the paranormal in the first place?
Oh, well, that goes way back. I've been weird since I was about 3 or 4. I mean, so there's
now we preach that you're not weird if you're into the paranormal.
I've been this way since I was 3. So there's always been an interest there. I mean, but like a serious interest. Like I remember when I was 10 years old, I lived in a haunted house in my hometown, and I knew it. And, you know, like 1992, maybe 9, I talked my dad into buying me like one of those old school tape recorders for like reporters. I told him I wanted to be a reporter when I grew up. He should have known that was a lie. And I was doing EVPs before it was trending. Like at 10 years old, I was, I mean, so I was already looking for things when I was a little bumpkin.
Oh, bumpkin. Aw.
And, you know, it just kind of developed from there. I mean, had some very bizarre experiences in childhood, teenage, 20s. And ultimately, as far as the ghost tours go, I was when I lived in the South, I went to Disney World, and on the way home, I stopped in Savannah for a night, and I saw a flyer for a ghost tour. I had never been on one. This was eons ago, like 2000 and probably 8 or 9, and we had such a killer time. It was super fun. And when I relocated to Nebraska and I was settled into my career and I had some more free time and the money that it took to start up, I was like, you know what? This was such a cool idea. I want people to have cool nights like that. Like, forget dinner and a movie. Come on a ghost tour. Let's do something cool. And here we are. Like, no regrets.
So tell us about the haunted tours. What are they, the name they go by?
So Midwest Paranormal History Tours. And I give tours at locations all in and around Omaha. It's about 10 or 15 different locations. So, of course, some are cemeteries, and then some are parks that have some dark history behind them. And so it kind of depends on what you're into. Every single one of them, after researching and doing tours, I've had experiences in every single one of them, and people have them on my tours as well, because I wouldn't continue going if I didn't legitimately think that something was there to be had. And, you know, some nights on ghost tours, it's just a normal night. We have a good time, and I'm a historian, and we do that. And then some nights, groups of people run out of the woods. It just push pregnant spouses down. It just depends on the night.
I want to say the night that we were at Melbourne last, you had said somebody had gone running out of there, if I'm remembering correctly.
I did. I remember I did because
that was
I found
you.
out I was on BuzzFeed. Yeah, I screamed.
That's always good for the guests.
Not out of being scared. No, oh yes. Okay, so that night that I came and saw you and you got the blob behind you, yeah, we did see someone in the cemetery, just a quick burst over by some headstones, nothing earth-shattering, you know, nobody screamed, nobody ran. Everybody had a really great time, though. And that's my number one thing is just everybody go home being like, wow, that was super cool. I want to do that again. And they do. And that's the point of it. My first investigation.
Absolutely.
So
I want to ask a question about tours before we get off that, though. Hang on a second. Because you haven't bragged about it yet, and I want you to brag about it. So I believe it was maybe that same night that you also found out that you were on a pretty awesome list, wasn't it?
Yes. In the BuzzFeed. Found that out in the cemetery. And had those girls never told me. So it was the world's top 16 ghost tours that will actually scare the crap out of you. And, you know, I wish that they would, like, email someone. If they're like, hey, by the way, you made this list. If you want to tell your mom, they didn't. But it was like, my mom wants to know these things. It was like the Stanley Hotel, Jack the Ripper of London, New Orleans was on there, Savannah was on there, Zach Bagans Museum was on there. We're talking like world-renowned places to go. And I screamed, somewhere in Sweden, my daughter says. But, you know, it was like a list that I don't deserve to be on. I can tell you that.
Oh, hey, now don't say that.
Well, what, Jack the Ripper, Kelly? That's like, oh my gosh, they have hundreds of people a weekend doing it.
It doesn't matter how many people it is. It's the quality of the tours. It's the quality of the people running the events. It's how much fun they have. It's the locations they get to go to. Don't make me get ornery with you, because I will.
Okay, thank you, but I didn't I felt like it was a Wayne's World moment. Like, I'm not worthy. You know?
Not worthy. Oh, too funny.
That's how I felt. But I'll take it because it was a very exciting moment for me, for my 14-year-old daughter. I happened to have a coworker on the tour with me that night, and she, you know, it was just, it's exciting. It's exciting. That's all I can say.
It was very cool. Okay, now you can go back to answer the question, where was your first investigation? I just wanted you to get that out there because I was very happy for you.
I mean, okay, so forget all the creepy stuff I did when I was a kid and I probably shouldn't have been doing. We just have to forget that. Like, legitimate one, Malvern Manor, because I've only ever, you know, I'm very solo. Malvern Manor was the first place that I actually did, like, an overnight investigation. Now, since then, I've done quite a few and some really cool things. But that was my first legitimate, me not doing EVPs on my own when I was 10.
Right.
Or 20. Or 20, yeah. Or, you know, recently.
Yeah. So,
and it's a great place to start out.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long ago was this? I mean, because that's one hell of a place to start out at.
I mean, I had already started the ghost tours, so this had to be 2017. And I started the ghost tours. My parents, like, one day we were at lunch, and he's like, hey, I saw this place in Iowa was going to be on the television. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And he got me to Malvern Manor. And seriously, I just called Josh one day, went out there and met him. And the rest is history as far as that goes. But, yeah, I did an investigation. There was, like, a group of people that wanted to go on a ghost tour. It was, like, a special one.
Right.
And, yeah, so that would have been, like, 2.5 years ago.
So you gave Josh a call, you went out there and met him, and now you're stuck with that entire group of guys like herpes, right?
Oh, my gosh, I hope so. Oh, my goodness. Well, I try to think of it more pleasant than that. But,
no, they're amazing. They are absolutely
I went out there. Yeah, they are. I went out there and met Josh. We had an experience, like, right when I showed up at 2 p.m. Stuff got real, and then, you know, now I've been back a few times.
Very, very cool. So, where do we want to go next? HaunaCon. I know that you have started, 2020. Well, actually, tell us about some of the guests you had at 2019, just so they can have an idea of what to expect possibly for 2020.
So 2019 was Dustin Perry of Ghost Hunters International and Ghost Hunters, Brandy Green of Ghost Hunters International, Ryan Buell of A&E's Paranormal State, Coyote Chris Sutton of Vidi Space, and Dan Class of Vidi Space and the Hinsdale House in New York. And, Jason Offit, who is an amazing cryptid author, actually just from Kansas, so not far away from here. Tony and Deborah Pickman of the infamous Sally House Haunting. And Johnny Hauser of Veluska.
Oh, yep.
And then Josh of Malvern Manor. Oh, Charla Harden of Girls vs. Ghosts.
I'm trying to go through the thing and think who else was there. Yeah. I think that was everybody that was up on the stage.
I think I got them all. Mm-hmm. I just went through the floor plan in my head.
Yeah. I was going through the stage as you were naming them off. Like, did we get them? Did you say them also? So, yeah. So, can you tell us about who you might expect or...
No, because my very first guests are already decided, and that will be announced first to the people at the bonfire, and then I will announce them on social media probably October 1st. And as far as I have quite a few things in the works. It's going to be all new talent, and I hope, of course, paranormal is going to be heavy, but I hope that we can have some really heavy hitters for UFO-extraterrestrial and Bigfoot. So
that'd be cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That'd be interesting. So, so if you guys want to be the first ones to find out who she's going to have there, you definitely want to attend that Bellevue bonfire on September 14th, right?
Yep.
Okay. I was so bummed. I was so stinking bummed because I was already booked when you announced the date for that. And I'm like, I can't go. Because last year when you had it, I'm like, I'm going next year. I'm going to be there next year. But
It is. I mean, all of us have commitments. There is a Husker football game during it. Like, I get it.
It
But
is
I'm
also
not
my
going
birthday
to.
weekend, though. I mean, how cool would it have been to hang out with you on my birthday weekend?
Yeah, what is it? Sunday?
Sunday. Yep.
Well, happy birthday.
Thanks. But it would have been cool. But,
Yeah,
next year.
I mean, the
Next year.
bonfire. Next year. Yeah, that's a date. Next year, or last year, was super cool. It's just very laid back. It's nothing too formal. It's just come out, have a good time, s'mores, have some drinks if you want, win some weird raffles. It's nothing too, there's not a super tight schedule. It's seriously just more of like a networking
Relaxed
and sharing
fun.
stories. Yeah, totally relaxed and fun.
Wonderful.
Nothing too
All right.
formal.
A couple questions from chat. What's the one location that you would be afraid to go to?
You know what? I did not like the Sally House. Did not like it.
I hear that a lot.
I mean, would I go back under duress? Maybe. I don't think so. I think one place I wouldn't go. I don't know. I don't think there's one place I wouldn't go. Now, like, afraid to go overnight, there might be a couple. But go feel it out and see what... So, see what it has to offer during the day, and then go from there. But the Sally House, it wasn't terrifying while I was there, but I had some experiences after I returned home for about the next 4 or 5 days that I didn't care for, and I don't wish to experience again.
See, that's just crazy. That's I was just there.
Gross.
It wasn't last weekend. It was weekend before last, I think. Where the hell was I last weekend? Oh, I was at Silicon. So it was weekend before last. It has some interesting spirits there, that's for sure. But luckily, everything stayed behind when I left. So, but I hear that a lot.
Any dreams or anything weird?
Not that I can really think of. But then I don't dream. I think.
What?
I mean, kind of. So. I don't ever remember dreams, and if I do, it's never a good thing.
We all should have dreams, Kelly.
Well, see, but I think, so what they kind of explained to me is that that's like the only time that I recharge, and so I don't dream because it's like too, I don't know, it's like I'm too protected or something. I have no idea.
Okay.
But I don't dream very often. And so when I do, if I do ever dream and I remember any parts of it, I am tearing the crap out of that, trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be figuring out, and
you and me both.
Okay. Yeah. So Malvern, you said that you'd want to go feel it out and decide if you wanted to stay there. Would you stay at Malvern all by yourself?
Oh my, no. No. Let me tell you what.
It's not just me.
I knew, let me tell you what happened. No, that's a hard no, because I was there alone once, and that's enough for me. I was eating a sandwich, and I heard a conversation going on, and I waited outside for everybody. That's not fun. I'm just trying to enjoy a Casey's sandwich in the kitchen.
That's excellent. I don't think I could do it. And the thing is, it's not that I'm uncomfortable at Malvern. I'm really not. But there's no way I could try to sleep there because they'd talk all night long. And it's like, no.
I want to be bad, and sometimes I am, but on December 9th, we were out there when Ryan Buell was there doing an investigation. And look, why he handed me a walkie-talkie and told me I was in charge of the walkie-talkies, I don't know, because I should be the number one person not in charge of walkie-talkies. And so it wasn't working, and we're all kind of by the office, and he wanted me to come give him a walkie-talkie, and he was in the shadow hallway, and I had to go all by myself from the office to the shadow hallway, and almost anxiety attack in that time. Okay, this is your time to be brave. Jamie, go give him a walkie-talkie. I ran. Because here's the deal at Malvern Manor, and I don't know if you feel this way. There are so many doors on both sides that I'm afraid when you walk past it, either something is going to be there or something is going to jump out at you. And that
Yes.
is, if there weren't doors there, I probably wouldn't be bothered by it. But all of the doors are what get me.
Yeah, because there's so much area that you can't see what's in there. Yes, I totally understand that. Yeah. Even even upstairs where you're going around the curve in the hallway to go to the captain's room. That curve
Anybody could do
I
that.
can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what gets me is all of the doors. And now, of course, that has ramped up since seeing someone standing in a doorway. That just leads me to believe I never should have, my fear of the doors is not outlandish.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because they just kind of stand in the door sometime and watch you. And
They lurk.
They do. They lurk. And it's weird. And yeah. Melbourne is a phenomenal place.
You'd think you'd be scared of what's behind you, maybe. I guess I'm not saying I've never felt that, but it is seriously someone either, maybe not even coming out at you, but okay, you go by a door and you look left and someone is standing in the room. No.
I had a hell of a time after I saw that woman crawl up the hallway towards me, because then we went down that hallway to tape and they gave me the camera. So I'm supposed to be looking forward with the camera, paying attention to what they're doing. And all I could do was look over my shoulder because I just had some creepy ass woman.
When you have a rain experience, you should be nervous and anxious. And you're like, maybe not tonight. We're good. Let's not do that again. And of course, in my experience, it's always the most random and unguarded times when you're just setting up or just finishing up or whatever you're doing.
And that's what it was. We were setting up. We didn't even have cameras rolling yet. And all I was doing was watching that end of the hallway for the light changing, because it looked like there was light changing down there. So I was just trying to get a baseline for how did the light fluctuate. And I wasn't investigating.
Nope.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
It's always good times at the Melbourne Manor.
Are you going to be there on the 19th?
This month?
October.
On that Friday, yes. I totally have it on my calendar.
That's a Saturday, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. What? Oh. I don't know yet. I thought it was something else.
Okay.
October 19th, I have a, see, that's the problem with October. Everybody thinks that October is the spookiest month ever.
Yes, because more ghosts come out in October.
They wait until October 1st, of course.
Yep, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
It's it's showtime.
We've been waiting for this all year.
All year. We have 31 days. No, I have a tour on the 19th.
Boo. All right.
I know, but everybody wants to get spooky in September. It's once those leaves start changing, people are like, let's go do this. And I'm like, okay, I do this in April too, though.
These are year-round tour, guys. She offers them all the time. She's got her own page on Facebook, Midwest Paranormal History Tours. So follow her. Go to some tours. I got to hit some still.
It's super fun. It's such a good time. I love it. It just is. It is very rewarding. Very rewarding.
Yeah. So
just do you have fun with people and make friends?
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, and you can make the best friends doing stuff like this, And I think about that. I think about that a lot. I've got so many friends from the paranormal field and people that I wouldn't have met. You, for example, that if I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't have met them, And it's but look at my cool friends now. And yeah.
I have numerous friends that I met on ghost tours, so they're not in the paranormal, but I mean, some incredible, incredible friends. Just when you meet someone, you're you're my person. We're going to be best friends now, just so you know.
I know exactly, because the people will come to my intuitive retreats that I do, and then I'm friends with them. There's at least a couple that I'm really, really good friends, and that's how I met them. And it's
these people come over to my house for dinner and stuff.
Yeah. No, I don't do that because I don't cook. I mean, I like my friends. I don't want to kill them.
We order pizza.
We'll go out to eat. We'll order in, but there is no Kelly cooking because I like you more than that. What can you tell us some of the places you go to on your history tours?
So here's the deal. You never know. The only place it's all very secretive, and there's a couple reasons for that, and I'll tell you. Hummel Park is obvious that you're going there because it's called the Haunted Hummel Park, or Haunted Hummel Hike. But everywhere else, it's like, let's say it'll say cemetery tour and kind of either say, South Omaha or Florence or whatever, but you actually don't know where we're going. And there's two reasons. First of all, so people don't show up that did not purchase tickets, because I like to keep my tours small and very intimate because I think it's a better experience.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It is, yes. And secondly, I don't want people to have the opportunity to Google where we're going, because the point of a historical ghost tour is to learn the history, not necessarily Google it yourself and going into, or think that going into it what we're going to talk about. So I prefer the surprise aspect and secrecy. So the only way you ever know, aside from Haunted Hummel, is like if you've already been on a cemetery tour and you message me like, hey, I want to come on another one. Is this the same one I've already been on? I will tell you, no, it's this one. So I don't have a problem with that. But the general public, I like you not to know until you book the tour.
I love that.
It's, and I never get grief about it, which is a couple people, but I'm like, but I tell them those exact two things. I don't want you to ruin it for yourself by Googling it. And also, I don't want people showing up that didn't pay like you did,
Well, and as long as I could call you and say, hey, Jamie, last time I was out, I went here and here. What tour should I book to go different places,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I do a Sasquatch tour, too. Totally forgot about that one.
I don't think I knew this. Did I?
Yeah, did you not? Oh, girl, yeah. And I will
think I knew that.
Total hour-and-a-half Sasquatch tour. It is...
I have to do that.
Well, on the Sasquatch tour, like, usually people are very open if they're coming on a ghost tour anyways. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people. Sasquatch tour is about 20 levels above, because if you are coming on a Sasquatch tour, chances are you're even more open than just to the paranormal. And that is where I hear the best stories. We always end up talking about synchronicities between owls and aliens and abductions and, of course, Bigfoot, sometimes lake monsters. It's just like, it's a total group of people that are so much more... Darren, I don't use any device to investigate. None. I answered a question.
I saw that. That was Johnny on the spot on that one, too.
Yep, I just take a flashlight, and I take my phone with me, too.
So I know that in your family you have people who have abilities, though. Do you think you fall into that category?
Do you think I fall into that category?
Does what?
Do you think that?
I can answer that, but I want to know your opinion.
I don't know. All I tell people, this is what I tell people, is that I've had more experiences than the average person, or I'm more willing to come forward about my experiences than the average person. Now, as far as when I was little, I was definitely doing things that most little kids don't do, that I no longer do. I don't sit and talk to people that aren't there, now at 37 years old. But I don't know. I just think maybe I'm more receptive or open. I don't know. And I'm definitely more forthcoming than a lot of people.
I think there's truth to that you have a complete comfort level talking about it. And you do have an openness to it, which is going to help you experience things. But I do think you also have a natural ability there that that draws them to you. I guess that's probably the way that I would say it, is that they're drawn to you for whatever reason. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because people always ask me about some experiences I've had, that if they're like, oh, do you want to see it again? Like this Hummel Park experience that I've had 3 times or maybe 4. People are like, don't you want to see it again? And I always tell people, I'm like, here's the deal. I've had experiences with it multiple times now, and I could have 5 more experiences, but what's going to happen at the end of the day is I'm not going to get any of my questions answered. I'm going to leave with more questions, because until something comes out of a door or the woods or something and like shakes my hand and says, my name is Tim, this is my deal.
And you can sit down and have a conversation with them. Yeah.
You're right. That's just not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. I guess I would say that, yeah. I'm going to add one other thing onto what I said, though, because you pick stuff up. We've investigated enough together at this point, or walked around and got spooky, I don't know what, enough that you feel things.
Yeah, doesn't everybody?
They could, yes. They could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wondered, because when Darren asked the question about, do you use any devices? Well, technically speaking, you are a device. So.
Yeah, I prefer it. I've been on investigations where people, and not that I'm anti-device, because I'm not. I think a lot of them are super cool. I have absolutely played with all of them, or used all of them, or been introduced to them at the minimum. Thought the SLS was super cool at Waverly Hills. I had never seen one. But a lot of times on investigations, people are so concerned with their devices. It's much like a cell phone. They have their face into whatever device that they're using, when someone else just saw a full body apparition, because they were not doing that.
They pay attention. Yeah,
you're not using the number one tool that you were given, which is you. And that's why I never, aside from a flashlight and my phone, just in case I do need it for some reason, I don't bother.
Yeah, and I absolutely think that there's some definite bonuses that are brought in by having some devices with you, but you've got to not just pay attention to those, and you can't rely on just a device, and certainly not just one device all the time. It just, you're not getting the full picture by any means if you do that. And like you just said, how much are you going to miss?
And I've had people ask me, and I'm like, here's the deal. Like, you can show me pictures of orbs all day long, but you know what I would rather go home with is say, hey, I was at this place, wherever, let's say the Stanley Hotel, and I saw a full body apparition. I would rather hear that story than you say, oh, I caught kind of a weird orb picture, because you weren't looking and you could have seen something or felt something. And that'll be a story that you can tell people that is way cooler.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you brought it up. I have to ask your opinion. What's your opinion on orbs?
For the most part, dust and bugs. Unless an orb is behaving in a very peculiar way, then I automatically think UFO. But if it's in the sky. I've never seen an orb.
I was going to say, I don't know that I've ever seen a UFO in a house, but I love it.
Right. I mean, if I see a UFO in my house, I'm burning it down. I've never seen an orb photo that I was like, wow, that's super. I've seen some videos, especially online, where I'm like, wow, that's super peculiar that it's behaving in a very weird way. But like in my cemetery tours, people that send me photos, cemeteries are dirty and they're dusty, and there are bugs. We're in Nebraska. I'm not saying they don't exist. It's just unlikely. I've got a couple of weird ones, but not like it has a. Oh, I do have a couple that are peculiar, but I can't say yes, hands down, that's a spirit or that's a bug. I don't know.
I don't think anybody can. I mean, I don't think anybody can say proof positive that it is.
Nobody would be interested in the paranormal. No, yeah. We don't know the truth.
So you've said before that you are into like the whole cryptid and all that too. Do you think you've ever seen a UFO?
Yes, twice.
Have you?
Yes,
what was your
absolutely.
experience?
My first time was in Estes Park, Colorado, when I was either 10 or 11. My mother saw it too. And we saw it standing in Big Thompson River like there was a bunch of boulders that were, like in the middle of the river, and it was just standing. So this would have been like 92, 93. I'd have to ask my mom. And it was standing on the boulders as we drove by, and me and my mom got hysterical and excited, and we made my dad pull over after, and then as we pulled over and walked back maybe 100 yards or so, it was gone. But absolutely, me and my mother, hands down, had an experience in the early 90s in Estes Park.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
What was your other one?
It was here in Nebraska as an adult at a park. At a park. So, little more hands-on. Didn't see it in the daylight, though. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But I think it's a possibility. With what I saw, it was either, because it was dark out, a shadow figure, I don't know what it was, but I would have to say that it's a definite possibility based on the area that I was, which was a wildlife preserve. We were right near the Missouri River. It was illuminating its eyes. It had all of the, and I didn't know that at the time, actually. I thought I was seeing like Satan.
Yeah. Oh, that was definitely. Yeah, I don't know that I think I've ever seen a Bigfoot, but I question whether or not I've seen a UFO. I was coming home from work, and it was already dark, and I was just pulling into the town that I lived in at the time, and I saw the biggest, brightest falling star. And I'm watching it as it's falling, and it's slowing down a little bit as it gets further and further down. And I'm like, well, that's just cool that it hasn't burned out yet. And I'm watching it, and all of a sudden it slows down almost to a stop, and then it takes off faster than anything I've ever seen, upwards and in a different direction. I'm like,
not a falling star.
That is not what falling stars do. What? No. What? And an airplane can't do something like that. It was too fast for an airplane. No.
And airplanes don't leave stardust in their wake. That's not how, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Well, Iowa's a hotbed.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that, because I have no other explanation of what it could be, but yeah. Yeah. Anyway. All right, my dear, we are at an hour already. What else would you like to share with us? Anything we haven't talked about?
We've already gone off topic like 52 times. So no, I think we covered it.
Oh, but there's so many more things we can talk about, but
all night long.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, I am going to go ahead and do a quick one-card draw for everybody like I do towards the end of the shows, and that'll give Jamie a moment to start wrapping her mind around all of her social media places that people can find her. While I'm doing this, just to give you an update kind of on what my schedule is coming up. This coming weekend, I am going to be in Warsaw, Indiana at the Warsaw Para something other. Hang on. There's a real name for this thing. Not that I can see it. It's the Warsaw Parafest. And that is on November 13th and November 14th. I'll be there along with Dustin Perry, Grant Wilson, Johnny Zappis, couple of the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, and a bunch of other people. So super duper excited about that. The weekend after that, I'll actually be at BD Mansion for the first time with Dustin Perry. So excited to go there. I haven't ever been, but I've heard really good things about it. So it's going to be fun. And then the weekend after that, which would be September 28th and 29th, that is going to be our Ames Psychic and Paranormal Expo. That's held at the Sheeman Building on the Iowa State University campus. That runs on Saturday from 10 to 6 and Sunday 10 to 5. Admission is $5 a day and free presentations throughout the day. We'll have Mr. Dan Class of the Hinsdale House there, Coyote Chris Sutton, myself, We will have all sorts of psychic mediums, healers, rocks, gemstones, all that sort of fun stuff. We will have Miss Kim Purvis and her team will be there. Raven Rose, Cynthia and Roland and team, I'm assuming, will be there. Sarah Hyatt, who is the guest tomorrow night, I believe. Or was that last week? Shay, help me out here. Was Sarah and Adam on last week, or is that this week? What's that?
Ron was last week.
Okay. But Sarah and Adam Hyatt with Granger House will be there. So a lot of fun vendors. If you get a chance, Ames, Iowa, September 28th and 29th for that event. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card here quick. And this is just a general reading. Hopefully it'll resonate with some of you guys. If it doesn't, that's okay. And tonight I am pulling out of the Divination of the Ancients Oracle deck. And the card that I drew out for this time is the Crystals card. And this one is about healing. This card suggests that you have been so focused on those who require help that you have forgotten about yourself. Like so many, you have been taught to put the needs of others first and your own wonderful self last. But this is the opposite of the way in which you and the world are healed. Nurturing, loving, and caring for yourself leads you to the wholeness and balance that gives you the strength to help those around you without draining your own life force. When you are healed and whole, the world around you heals as well. Understand and practice this to develop healing mastery. The crystal card may also indicate that too much energy has been spent on hurt, disappointment, and anger. It's time to let go and move on. The mineral kingdom offers its natural, effective healing energies to you at this time. This is a message that I have to talk to people about all the time. Everybody wants to help other people. Everybody wants to be there for everybody else. And that's a wonderful characteristic to have. That's a wonderful thing to want to do. And guys, I'm guilty of this myself. I want to be there to support everybody else. But if I don't take care of myself, I'm not going to be able to help others, at least not to the full capacity that I could if I was caring for myself. Sometimes it can feel selfish to say, I'm going to take care of me. But, think about like when you're on an airplane. One of the first things they tell you is if those air masks drop, you put your own on first so you're able to help other people. It's the same theory. You have to make sure that you've protected yourself, that you've got yourself in a position that you can help. But reach out if you need some extra strength. Don't be afraid to take that meditation moment. Carry some of those crystals around with you if you need that extra energy, and just pay attention to where your battery is running at. That's your message for the evening. Miss Jamie, how can everybody find you?
Tours on Facebook. I have websites, but Midwest Paranormal History Tours on Facebook, Instagram, and then Haunticon has everything. It's just Haunticon Omaha on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And if you were to Google either of those things, you'd come up to my websites too.
Wonderful. And you'll start announcing vendors on September 14th at the bonfire, and then you'll start.
Oh, the talent, yeah.
Yeah. And then you'll start posting it on October 1st, you said?
Yeah, I'm going to start rolling out. I think I've put out 2 vendors right now, and that'll slowly come after the fundraiser is done. New vendor announcements, just all sorts of different announcements. But I'm kind of getting over this giant event here before I gear up for all of that other work.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, for those of you guys that follow me, you know that Mama Pat and I host some pretty large expos throughout the year as well. I know how much work it takes, and I know the dedication that it requires to run a quality event. And I know that there's a lot of events out there. I don't throw my hat behind people if they don't deserve it. Jamie absolutely runs a top-notch event. So if you guys are, you're welcome. if you guys are in the area for the bonfire, for any fundraiser she's doing, because she does other events too. If you can get to Omaha to go to one of the tours, if you can join us all at HanaCon next year, absolutely make a trip of it. It is worth it. I guarantee it. It is a blast. So you guys have watched me this year. It's been crazy with my travel, and I've traveled all over and gone to some pretty big shows. She's getting there. She is right up there with the big dog. So, yeah.
Go girls! Woohoo!
And just put behind that she's awful fun.
No, we have fun.
All right. I'm going to attempt to do some shout outs now that I haven't been paying attention to everybody, but just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who's been in chat tonight for all of your questions. I don't know that I got to all of them, but I do appreciate your questions and you tuning in. If you are not able to join us in chat, I still appreciate you listening. If you're on a playback, thank you as well. Shout out to Wolf, Cynthia, Mama Pat, Miss Shay, Darren, of course. Thank you for all the questions, Darren. It's always appreciated. Freddie, who had some wonderfully amazing news today. I'm so very happy for him. For Fred, sorry. I shouldn't call him Freddie in front of everybody. Let's see. Why am I not seeing Matt in here? Where's Matt tonight?
He's not here tonight. You missed that in the chat.
Did I? Okay. Mm-hmm. See, I was so enthralled by what you were saying, I was missing the chat. Miss Cynthia, I can't remember if I mentioned Cynthia. Miss Cynthia, tell Roland we said hi. I'm scrolling quick, guys, because I know this has got to be the most boring part of the show to listen to me to go as I'm scrolling through. Miss Kim Purvis.
It's like Danny's.
Yeah. Kim's show is actually on tomorrow night, and if I'm understanding correctly, Darren is going to be her guest. So you guys need to tune into that one. Have your questions ready, because that man is always asking questions. It's payback time, kids. And have them be completely off the wall. I'll have to think up some good ones. So, yeah, I think I've got everybody. If I missed you guys, I didn't mean to. I still love you. I swear to God, it's just I'm scrolling really fast. Miss Jamie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
We'll maybe talk about having you back on Closer to HanaCon again, just so we can do some more promoting of the event and talk about everybody fun who's going to be there and all that good stuff. Definitely.
Awesome.
Check her out, guys. If you guys are not able to find any of her pages or her websites, you can always reach out to me. I'll get you over to where she's at. Next week's guest is, I believe, Tim Shaw. I should have had my calendar with me. Ooh, I do have my calendar with me. It's on my phone. Oh, Shay's making me wonderful here. So, yes, my guest next week is Tim Shaw. He is a psychic medium. I believe out of the New York area. Amazing guy. Super fun. Going to be a good time. So be sure to tune in for that one, too. I'm sure he'll talk paranormal with us as well, but definitely going to have some metaphysical conversation in there as well. And I don't remember the week after that, so it's all good. We'll go 1 week at a time because that's about all I can keep track of. But thank you so much for tuning in tonight, you guys. I love you. I appreciate all of the support throughout all this time, and everybody always being in here in chat to support us as well. So you guys are awesome. We'll talk to you all next week. Thank you. Good night.